channel. Thanks for joining me again today. We're going to be making this Lawn Fawn Fintastic Friends birthday card using all Lawn Fawn products, which I will show you during the video. I hope you enjoy. So we're going to jump straight in to making the card. Today I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn products. I've got this Dandy Day paper pack, which is just beautiful. It's got it's all the same pattern but different colours, and it's so nice with the Dandy Day stamp set from Lawn Fawn. But today I'm going to use it with the Fintastic Friends from Lawn Fawn, which comes with a couple of different shapes of tank, lots of different fishies, and a couple of sentiments. I love this "You're fantastic" and "Thank you." Quite funny quotes there. And I've also got the Lawn Fawn dies, matching dies, which I'll be using as well. So I don't know if I mentioned in any of my previous videos, but you might have noticed that I tend to store my stamps and dies in old DVD cases. I have them all stacked up in the corner of my desk, and I put a label on the side so I know which one is in each of the cases. And I find this a really useful way of storing my stamps and dies. Maybe once I've got a lot more in my collection, I might be looking for something a different way of storing, but for now this really works for me. So I'm going to take my Misti and stamp out the images that I want to use today. Just got a bit of scrap card that I'm going to use, and I'll put that in the Misti. I'll take my stamp set, and today I'm going to use the this tank first, and the little fish food image. So I'll stamp those out first, and I'm going to use, as always, my trusted Momento Tuxedo black ink. So just stamp those, ink those up and stamp those onto here. Now this is a really good example of where the Misti works brilliantly. So I'm going to just ink those up again, just to give me a crisp image. Lovely. So I will just close that ink over for now and take my microfiber cloth and clean off my stamps. So as I was saying, the Misti is just so good for this example card. So I have a fish that I want to put in. So I'll bring this back in. So I'm going to use this fish and the I don't know what you call it, little tank plant. Just going to stick that there. You come over, pick it up and ink it up. Fingers crossed this goes in the right place. Yeah, lovely. So then I'm going to put my fish in the tank as well. So I'm going to put that little guy there, move him over a little bit, and ink him up too. There. Clean that off. And then I've got this small tank plant, which I'm just going to put there on the edge. So you can see the Misti helps you build your scene, which is really good. I'm not worried about the fact that it's slightly high up. And I'm going to put that also in this little corner here. like so. So this works with any scene that you want to build. The Misti is such a great invention for this. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to start to colour that in now. So I'll take out my Misti and I will start to colour in. And I will, I'm using my Everblend, Arteza Everblend markers as usual. And I will fast forward this bit because I'm sure you don't want to see me colouring in. And I will try and remember to put the number of the colour that I'm using on screen. So I'll be back in a second once this is all coloured in. Okay, so this is the colouring finished, and I'm going to take the dies now and just cut these two images out. So I have the tank and I have the fish food. So I'll just bring in my big shot. I'm going to use some purple tape to stick it down. I'll just put that one there. And that one there. I'm bringing my big shot. And run through. It creaks. It's always a whirring sound, but you know, if you've used these often enough, that's the sound they make. Right, so that's quick enough. So I can now take one image, the tank and the fish food, put them over to the side. So now I'm going to start to assemble my card. Actually, first, before I start to do that, I need to stamp my sentiment. So I have this scrap piece of paper here. I'm going to take my Misti again and just slot that in. And I'm going to use the Best Fishies from the Fantastic Friends stamp set. So I'm going to put it over to the side here. These are quite large sentiments. In comparison to a lot of the other Lawn Fawn sentiments that I have. And I'm going to use my Momento black ink again. So I'll just ink that up. And stamp that down. I'm just going to ink it up again. And stamp down. So that's the sentiment. Put that to the side. And I'm going to cut this so it is a banner shape. So I'm just going to take my scissors and do as best I can to cut straight. And then to do the banner, I just snip halfway on the bit of card and come in at a diagonal from each corner. And that's my banner. Now I'm going to just ink this up a little on the edges just to give it a little bit of interest. And I'm going to use my brush. I'm not going to put it into any ink. I know that there's probably enough blue ink on here from the last time I used it just to give it a little bit of interest on the edges. So I'm just going to run that over the edges a little. I think this has got some tumbled glass, distress oxide on this brush. So I'm just going to run it all the way around the edges like so. I do, in case you're wondering why this isn't moving, I do have some non-permanent sticky tape on the back of it just to make it a little bit easier for me to do that. And that, I'm happy with that, so I'll leave it. I'll take that off. So the semi-permanent tape you can actually just rub off. It is really handy tape to have for instances like this. So I'm just going to give my mat a wipe, take off any of that excess ink, dry that off, and now it is time to assemble my card. So off camera I have cut a piece of the Dandy Day paper that I want to use to the right size. My base card is a square 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters, so I have cut the paper down to fit exactly the 15 by 15. I've also cut a frame using some square frame dies that I have, and from cutting that frame I also have this insert, so I'm going to use that in the middle, and I've just got the frame on some foam tape so it lifts it up. So I'm going to use this Tombow liquid glue to stick my base on, my mat onto my base card, and I use this because it allows me to move it around and get it straight. So just a little bit on there and stick that onto my base. I can just wiggle it around and get it on there nice and straight. I'm then going to put my border down. So I'll just take the back off. You can see this is the big roll that I usually have, and I've just trimmed it down to one thickness of the roll, the foam tape. I've cut into these 4 lengths, so you don't need to use a huge amount of tape. So this is the tricky part because it moves because it's so thin, it moves around a little. But if I just place it on like so, I can just move it around and see if I can get it straight. That'll do. That's straight enough. And then I'm going to take this backing and stick that in the middle, and I will use Tombow for that. I'm going to take this, put some glue on it, and slot that into the centre. And again, I can move it around to make sure that it fits nicely. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm happy with that. And I'm going to push it down from the back as well. So that will dry nicely. I'm then going to take my tank, and I'm going to put the bottom of the tank onto the frame, so the top, so I will glue the bottom and I'll put a little bit of foam tape on the top. Just before I do anything, I just want to test that that's enough, that I'm happy. Yeah, so that sits nice. So I'll just put a little bit of, actually before I put the glue on, take the backing off. And put the glue on the bottom. So I'm going to have my food come in like this, with some food coming out. That's my tin of food. I'm going to do the same, put some glue and some foam tape on that, and I'm going to stamp some little circles that come in the Fantastic Friends, which I think are supposed to be bubbles, but I'm going to use them as if it's food. So I'm just going to put that there in the middle, push it down, and then I'm going to do the same with the tin of food. And then I'm just going to test that that is where I want it to be, and it is. So I'm just going to do that, and then my food I'm going to have coming down like so. So I'll take the backing off as before I put the glue on. I have made the mistake of putting the glue on first before taking the backing off, and then you end up with glue everywhere, all over your fingers, so it's easier to do it that way first. So where do I want it? Around about here. So I'm then going to take the small bubbles from the Fantastic Friends, and I'm going to put a little bit of bubbles on here, and I probably should have done this before sticking it down, but I've decided it needs something extra, and this is what it needs. So I'm just going to stamp there, and then the small, I don't know if you can see that, but the small bubble here is the one I'm going to use for the food. So I'm just going to take a bit of tape and cover up the other bubbles. Just make sure that they're clean. Cover up the other bubbles and ink that tiny one up. Take the tape off and then stamp that like so. And I'll just keep doing that until I'm happy with the amount of food that I've got coming out. So I'm then just going to colour those in. using one of my Arteza markers. And I'm not going to bother shading them because they're just tiny little dots. Now I've got this big white bit up here. I'm going to take my sentiment and put that up against the edge there. So again, I'm going to take some foam tape and some glue on the end. So again, take the backing off first, and then the glue can go on the end here. And I'm going to put that on the edge of the frame. And then to finish the card off, I am just going to take some blue twine and make a wee bow, which can be a bit fiddly. I don't want it too big. There, that's quite a nice size. And I just want to stick that in the corner there. I'm going to use some glue dots to do that. So I will take that and take your pick tool, just take the glue dot off the back and stick it to the back of my bow. And then I'm just going to put that onto the frame. And take my scissors and trim it down. And that just finishes off the card. So I hope you've enjoyed that card today. If you have, please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!